I don't even know what to say. I just need to say something. I just need to say something. I'm not even thinking straight right now. Um, my mom, she's been in the hospital since Monday. I'm gonna tell y'all why. I knew yesterday. I knew yesterday that she probably was gonna pass. And it just doesn't matter. It don't matter. You never ready to get that phone call. My mom, you know, she had kidney disease. And she's been on dialysis for like 8 years. That's a long time to be on dialysis. And she's 69. All of those things just play a factor in everything. I mean, it's one of those things that you just like, you know, it's not gonna be forever, but you just, you know. So she's been sick. She had pneumonia, but I don't know. There's a lot of things running through my mind. But so I'll have to at a later time maybe put everything together, because I'm literally ready to crash out right now. But right now, here's how I'm feeling immediately. My mom's been in the hospital since Monday. And my brothers, they live in the city. I live in the mountains, so I'm about an hour and a half away. And so, you know, I feel like, I don't know. I have a lot of shit on my mind right now. But, thank y'all for y'all condolences. But my brothers live in the city, so they were closer, you know, during this whole process. She was in the hospital for a couple of days, and I didn't know she was in the hospital. Strike number one. Strike number one. Because nobody called me, and I had called her a couple of times. But, you know, sometimes my mom's schedule and I, we miss each other, but we'll catch back up, you know, so it's not usually a big deal. But if she's in the hospital, you know, they know. They used to have my number to call me first, but since I moved further away, we changed it because my brothers live closer, which makes more sense because I have the kids. I'm an hour and a half away. If there's an emergency, you know, they need to be contacted first because they live within close driving distance. So, but yeah, nobody called me. Strike number one. Strike number one. I'm about to fucking strike number one. Strike number one. And I love my brothers. But y'all tell me if I'm fucked up. If I'm fucked up, okay, maybe I'm just emotional because my mother just passed away this morning. That's probably part of it, you know. I'm very volatile right now. But I think logically. So nobody called me. I didn't know. Wednesday, I get a phone call from my brother. He's like, listen, mom's in the hospital. She's been in the hospital since Monday. Again, bitch. Strike one. I don't appreciate that shit. Okay. And she was very alert and just being like, you know, they were trying to get a CPAP mask on her because she was having problems breathing. And my mom is claustrophobic. My mom is very claustrophobic. She don't like shit on her face, bruh. And she was like, nah, you not finna put that mask on me. Like, I don't want that. And so my brothers, you know, they trying to convince her, you know, the nurses and doctors, they could not convince her. And they were like, listen, if you don't put this mask on, you finna die today. And so she was like, no, like, get me out of here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in here. And so finally, my brother calls me. He's like, listen, you got to talk to mom and tell her to put this mask on. So I said, okay. You know, because I know she'll listen to me. Sometimes she'll listen to them. Sometimes she's like, and it takes me to come in and save the day. So I didn't even address the fact that why the fuck is my mom in the hospital for 2 days? And you motherfuckers didn't call me, bruh. You know? But I love my brothers. I'm not argumentative. I don't, you know, cause a lot of, you know, whatever. But I will fuck a motherfucker up and cuss a motherfucker out if I feel disrespected. That's the only time I get out of line. But in the moment, that wasn't priority. The priority was my mother. So, you know, I'm on the phone. My other brother is at the hospital. One of them, the one who's calling me, he's working. We're all just kind of coordinate. By the time they get me on the phone, my other brother had finally just put the mask on, like, you gotta have this, calm down, you gotta have this. So they kind of got it figured out. Okay, fast forward. My mom went into cardiac arrest yesterday morning. And I had just called up there the day before I went up there, and then, you know, she was stable, she was still alert, able to talk, uncomfortable. Left. She said, I called back last night and I talked to the nurse and I was like, listen, you know, do you think I need to come back tonight? What is it looking like? You know, getting her medical update. And she's like, no, I think you can sleep in your own bed. I think, you know, she's going to be fine until the morning, whatever. So in the morning, I do get the kids ready for school. Mind you, Junebug's birthday was Friday and Blaze's birthday. So Junebug's birthday was yesterday and Blaze's birthday was Thursday. So, you know, trying to vlog, I'm trying to get the kids together, I'm trying to wrap gifts, I'm trying to get, you know, I'm trying to get the kids straight, you know. Meanwhile, I'm trying to support from afar because I know my brothers are there, you know, to be there on a regular, consistent basis. They're tag teaming, being there, and I'm calling, you know, we're just kind of all making it work. So then yesterday morning, you know, I speak to her nurse, who I really, really like her. She was very, very thorough. We had a really good conversation. I asked her the questions, and I'm all over the place. But the night before, my mom called me. And she said, I said, Mom, you know, she was still able, she didn't lose her mental. You know how some people, they get sick, they get delirious and stuff like that. My mom was on a lot of medications, but she was still very mentally there. You know, her body was tired. Her body was tired, but she was there, you know. She called me the night before all of this happened yesterday, before she went to cardiac arrest. And I said, Mom, you know, I've been calling up there, you know, I'm checking on you. I love the team, because my mom was very particular about, don't let these motherfuckers kill me. Don't you let these motherfuckers kill me. They know I've been here a lot, and they start not to give a fuck, you know, whether I live or die. And I told her, I said, I know I'm on their ass, Mom. I assure you, I'm on their ass. Ain't nobody doing nothing. My brothers are there. I'm like, you know, they there and I'm here. We gonna make sure you taken care of. And then she was like, she said, I am uncomfortable. And she said, I am hungry. And she's like, they have not fed me anything since I've been here. And I know, like, that sounds fucked up, but I feel like when I did ask about it, they were just like, you know, she was having too many breathing issues at the time for her to safely, like, really consume anything without her levels dropping to, like, death levels, you know. So, you know, she was just like, my stomach hurts really bad and I really need something, right? And I was like, okay, you know. Then she's like, I also have some questions. And I was like, okay, let me write down your questions, Mom. What questions do you have? And I will find out for you. And she's just like, I want to know what my prognosis is. She's like, I want to know if I'm going to make it home. She said, I want to know, you know, about different things with dialysis and different things. And I wrote them all down. I said, I'm gonna find out for you and I'm gonna let you know, right? So she's like, okay, I'm tired of talking now. I said, okay, just get some rest and I'll be over there tomorrow. So the morning comes and I get, you know, it's Blaze's birthday. This is Thursday. And, you know, or was it Thursday or Friday? No, that was Thursday night. I can't remember. My days are mixed up. But anyway, long story short, the next morning, that's when I talked to her nurse. We had a long conversation. I asked all of the questions that my mom had. And the nurse was honest with me and said, you know, I'm concerned about her. She is really sick, you know, but we're going to try to treat, you know, the issues that we can treat and see what happens, essentially. And I was like, okay. And an hour later, I get a phone call from her doctor. And her doctor says, hey, you know, I know you just talked to the nurse. We want to put a breathing tube in because she's having problems breathing still, and the CPAP mask is just not doing enough. And she's vocalized that she's still short of breath and still having problems breathing. They were not able to get a hold of my brothers at the time. I had just talked to one of them and he said he was about to get dressed and then, you know, run an errand and then go to the hospital. My other brother, I don't know where the fuck he was at. I couldn't get a hold of him at that time. The hospital couldn't either because I'm the last one they called. My brothers were the first ones. Remember that, because I'm further away. So if they called me, they couldn't get in touch with them. They had to call somebody. So they called me. They're telling me, she's telling me they want to put in a breathing tube. They want to vent her because, you know, her body's struggling. I say, okay. And we in the middle of that, I hear them call a code in the background. She said, oh, they're calling me for your mom. I got to call you back. She hangs up the phone. 10 minutes later, I get a phone call from another doctor. He says, unfortunately, this is yesterday. Unfortunately, your mother's heart has stopped. Unfortunately, her blood pressure dropped too low and her heart stopped. We are going to follow the, you know, what she wished in her chart, which was to revive her at all costs. We're attempting CPR. We'll do that for 5 to 10 minutes and we'll see what happens. If we can get her jump started, we'll put her on a vent. I said, okay, I'm on my way. I'm calling my brothers, and they ended up getting in touch with them too. I called my brother and I'm like, I'm on my way. I get there, she's already vented, but she's twinging, like, you know, she heard us there, you know. First of all, I don't wish that pain on nobody. I don't wish that pain on no fucking body. I wish nobody that pain. I'm seeing their parent in the hospital like that. That is not my mom. I can't tell my brother. I was like, she wouldn't like this position they got her in because she was on her back. And my mom never liked to be on her back. She liked to be like on the side. And I said she wouldn't like this position. But anyway, you know, I spent all day there yesterday talking to doctors with my brothers, you know, and stuff like that, just going through the motions. They had her stable, whatever that means at this point. She was medically alive with everything in the book. But I'm grateful because I was able to come and say, hey, Mom, I love you, you know, whatever. My brother that we couldn't get in contact with for a few hours, I guess he was doing some things in the shop, whatever. And we finally got in contact with him. He was already there when I got there. So, you know, that worked out. Finally in the evening, I was like, okay, I gotta go home now because, you know, by the way, my husband was there with me too. So I was like, he met me from work at the hospital. So we were all there, and then I was like, okay, well, I gotta go feed the kids and stuff. It seems like, you know, nothing's really gonna change between now and tomorrow. So I'll come back tomorrow, either before the boys' party, because the boys have a birthday party today, this evening. And I was like, I'll either come before or I'll come after, depending on what's going on. And he said, okay, you know, I think you'll be good. He's like, I'm gonna be up here, I'm gonna stay up here, and with me and him and my other brother, we're gonna coordinate, like, you know, switch off, tag team. But so somebody's there with her the whole time. I said, okay, fine. I go home, y'all, and we do dinner, feed the kids, I take a shower. I'm exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted. I'm physically exhausted. I'm emotionally exhausted. I'm just exhausted. And so I take a shower, I go to bed, and I forget to put my phone on the charger. And if you know me, you know my phone stay charged. I try not to let my phone never goes dead. Like, I try not to let my phone go dead for multiple reasons, like this, for reasons of my kids, just whatever. Like, I always keep my, and if I don't, you know, if I'm not at home, I keep a power bank on me, my phone plugged in right now. Like, I try to keep my phone charged. So I was so tired last night. I went in bed and I put my phone on the bed with me, and I fell asleep, and my phone died in the middle of the night. I wake up, I put my phone at 8:30, I put my phone on the charger. First thing I do is call my brother. My brother calls me and tells me, yeah, Mom died. I'm like, when? And he says, hold on. He said at 7:57 this morning, and he said, we were trying to call you, you know, obviously couldn't get you. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, my phone was dead. I was asleep. And I said, I'm throwing my clothes on right now, and I'm coming. I'm on my way. And you know, I get up, I get my clothes on, I hop in the car, I get halfway there, and I tell him, I say, I'm 30 minutes away. Is she still in the room? And he says, no, they moved her already. Hold on, y'all. I gotta do something real quick. They say no. They already moved her, and I just sat there on the phone in silence. I'm on the highway going 85 in a 75, and I just was like, bruh, why you let them move her before I got there? I told you I was coming. I just wanted to, you know, see her before they took her, and I know I'm further away, but everybody in that unit knows me. You know, this is my mom's second time in ICU in 2 weeks. They know me. I call up there. I call up there every hour. All of them know me, you know, and they know I have kids, and they know that I'm far. And I tell them, you know, I just feel like, I don't know. I know there's some things you can't control, but I just was like, bro, why did you let them move her? So he's like, well, I don't know. You know, they were rushing and, you know, whatever. And so he's just like, you know, whatever. So he's like, well, I have this number, you can call. I called the number. It's the nurse's station. I already got that fucking number. I didn't realize it at the time, because then I start freaking out because, you know, just handle this shit with some care, my nigga. You know, like, do me how I would do me how you would want yourself to be done, bruh. And he just like, oh, it was already done. We were trying to call you. My nigga, we tried to call my other brother for 3.5 hours yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, so I called the nurse line and he was like, yeah, we just moved her about 10 minutes ago. So she's in the morgue. There's nothing we can do. And I just broke down. I just been a fucking mess since. And then I called my brother back and I'm like, bro, they moved her. I can't see her. And I really was trying to make it there, you know, so I could see her. I know I saw her yesterday. I'm grateful for that. But I also wanted to see her before they move her. I was trying to make it. And another thing that I forgot that I wanted to mention to you guys that I thought was like kind of quirky of my mom, and I want to remember it before I get into how I just got upset with my brothers. But yesterday morning, that's what's crazy. It went from I spoke to her on the phone yesterday to the doctor calling me talking about a breathing tube to her coding and her heart stopping to them bringing her back and putting her on a vent, from her being on a vent for 12 hours and then her dying this morning. I just, you know, what the fuck? What the fuck has been the last 24 hours? I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on. You know? The fuck? I don't know what's going on. So, yesterday morning, before I talked to the nurse, that's what I forgot to say. Before I talked to the nurse, my mom called me again. She just called me yesterday. And she said, I said, Mom, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm about to call, and the nurses, I'm taking care of the kids, getting them ready for school, but I'm gonna be up there, but I'm gonna call the nurse right now. What's going on? She called me during a shift change, which is kind of difficult to get a hold of nurses and doctors and stuff during that time. But she was like, I'm not doing good. I don't feel well. My stomach hurts so bad. I'm hungry. I said, okay, let me call my brother. And I said, hold on. So I called my brother, and he's like, okay, Mom, what do you want to eat? I'm gonna bring you some, right? We don't even know if she can eat right now, but we just like, we gonna try to do something. I said, you know, can you bring her some food? Can you bring her some broth? Can you do something? Because she's hungry. And so she he's like, Mom, what do you want? What do you want to eat? She said, I want some soup with not a lot of stuff in it, and I want a pear on the side. And I just thought it was interesting. She said a pear of all things. But she's like, yeah, I want a pear on the side of that, but I want some soup, but not a lot of stuff in it, because like my mom don't like a lot of, you know, ingredients in her soup, so mostly broth. He's like, okay, all right, I'm about to get dressed, and I'm gonna bring it up there. And then that's after that, everything went crazy. But here's where I'm upset. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know. I'll read the comments in a minute. That's the last time we talked. That's the last time I spoke to my mother. So at least that'll be a memory that I have that I can laugh about at some point. But so I called my brother back, fast forward, and I say, bro, at this point I'm heartbroken. Even more so. I'm like, you know, I knew, you know, I think at first they thought I was upset because she died. And I'm like, I am upset because she died. I'm more upset because y'all niggas didn't put your foot down and say, my sister is coming. Please wait an hour. I think they could have done that. I know they probably trying to clear her out of the way and not whatever. I know, I get it. They don't give a fuck. This is their job. But you are my brothers. I expect you to put your foot down for me. Advocate for me. Also, here's another issue. they said, like, you know, once I got home, like once I left, that she was, you know, having issues as I left. After I left, call me. They got a fucking problem picking up the phone and calling me. I told them, I said, I don't give a fuck. If I would have just got home, I would have put my motherfucking shoes on and got the fuck back in the car and got the fuck back down there, and I would have spent the night. You don't take that away from me by not calling me, but not giving me the option of being there if I want to be there. You know, let me make the call on, oh, well, I think I could wait till tomorrow. Don't make that fucking call for me. I don't like motherfuckers who do that. I never did. I never will. That's another problem. Strike 2. Strike 3 was letting them move her out of the room before I got there. And then when I pressed the issue, I'm like, why did you let them do that? Oh, I don't know. Everything had already happened. And I was, you know, we were trying to tell them to continue to work on her until you got there, until we got in contact with you. You act like, to me, it's just nothing is acceptable. They left her 3 hours away. See? Maybe it's different policies in different hospitals. But what I'm saying is this. They could have left her there for an hour. I was 30 minutes away. And then when I called, they said they had just removed her 10 minutes ago. How dare you? That means you could have waited 40 minutes and I would have been there. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I'd have been there. And all I need is 5 minutes just to, you know, kiss her, tell her I love her, and say goodbye, you know? Anyway, so I call him back. And my other brother answers the phone. And he's like, oh, well, he's talking to somebody, so I answer the phone for him. And he starts talking shit. Bitch, who the fuck you talking to? And he's just like, oh, well, you knew your mother was on life support. And then he said, you knew she was on life support and you left and you missed it. And that's nobody's fault but your own. And hung up in my motherfucking face. I'm the baby, bitch. You're 50. And my mother just died too. Not just yours, you selfish motherfucker. And you gonna pick up the phone in my distraught because my mother was moved and taken to the morgue where I can't see her now probably till she's in a funeral home or embalmed or some shit. And your response to me is not to handle me with care. Is to tell me, you knew your mother was on life support. Everybody knew that she could have died. You left and you missed it. That's nobody's fault but your own. Oops. Strike 3, bitch. So he immediately gets cussed out. I'm driving. I pull over. I say, you know what? We can handle this right now. I love you, but you will respect me. That is disrespectful. I don't love nobody that much. So then I call my other brother and I call the phone number back. My phone, the main phone, the brother I was trying to talk to in the first place. I never asked to talk to that brother. He just picked up the fucking phone. Nobody asked to talk to you. If you don't have the wherewithal to have a conversation with me, then get the fuck off the phone. You know, don't be picking up other people's phones. So my other brother picks up the phone again. I said, do you know what he just said to me? And he was like, no, what'd he say? So I repeated it. And he was like, oh, no, I don't think he meant that. I said, I'm not a child. We're all grown. That nigga meant what he said. And I know it's a high stress situation for everybody. I know everybody's upset. I know everybody's hurt. But bitch, have you lost your motherfucking mind? And he's like, oh, you know, and he just starts talking and he's just like, I'm gonna work on getting her put somewhere else and you can see her as much as you want, and it's not the same. It's not the same. And you know that. I said, and what he said to me, he's like, well, I'm sorry that he said that to you. The apology should not come from you. It should come from him. Because he should have said that shit in the first place, but that's okay. That's okay. And he's like, well, when people die, you know, it pulls families apart and people start fighting. He's like, we need to stick together. Understand. I understand that. I'm not trying to be absolutely ridiculous. What did you think I was coming to the hospital for? To sit in the lobby? If you knew that they moved her, why did you not tell me that before I left the house? Why did you, you know, when I said I was on my way, why didn't you explain to me what it was then? I'm not coming to the hospital to see you motherfuckers. I saw y'all yesterday. I was coming to see my mother. Love y'all, but I'm not coming to talk to y'all. I want to see my mom. It can permanently divide families, and I understand why. The funeral home my mom was at allowed us to see her. Call the funeral home. I know it's not the same, but maybe you can get some closure just seeing her. Yeah. Number one choice was very hard. 2 months ago, my granny died. Oh, I'm sorry for your loss too. They had my mom out until we got to the hospital. How is it right is he right when she has kids at home? He was wrong, point blank. She had to go home and get them settled. Her brothers was there. They absolutely could have left her mom in the room. Yeah, you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Everybody on the internet is gonna have an opinion, but I just had to get this out because I was so angry that I can't make the hour drive back if I don't release this shit. It's not healthy. You know, I'll get over it, I guess. I will never forget what they did, but I will get over it. And it'll allow me to be able to, you know, come together in whatever fashion that needs to be. But I just won't fuck with y'all. You know, the way people treat me will determine if I fuck with y'all. I'ma love you. I'm not required to fuck with you. I feel like my eyes are swollen from crying, but you know, I'm not required to fuck with nobody. I'm not required to whatever. I love both of them. I say that every time. Every time I get on here and I got some shit to talk, they're my brothers. We gonna fall out. We gonna make up. We gonna do. That's how siblings are. My kids fight and they fall out. They hate each other one day. They love each other the next day. That's siblings. That is how it works. But at the same time, we are adults. You know what I'm saying? You should never be that motherfucking whatever to be like, you know. And I told him, I said, listen, I want you to understand, I'm not mad at you because mom died. I knew she was going to die. I didn't want to believe it. But when I seen her yesterday, when I talked to her a couple of days ago, yesterday and a couple of days ago, we sat on the phone for 35 minutes. I knew then that was probably one of the last times I was going to talk to her. I recorded it. Something said, record this conversation. I don't even know if I got it. I haven't even checked it. I forgot how to fucking record phone conversations on the phone. But some said, record this conversation because you may never have another conversation like this again. I knew it was going to happen. I didn't want to believe it, but I felt like I knew it was going to happen. I knew it yesterday. Especially when they called me and said, unfortunately, your mom's heart stopped. I thought that was the end then. So I'm grateful they were able to bring her back enough for her to hear us, specifically me. They hear, you know, that I love her and that, you know, I was there for her and she wasn't alone. But yeah, that just pissed me off, you know. Let me cool off for a couple of days. you know, for whatever. Overall, I mean, fuck the little shit on the grand scheme of things. My mom is gone, and I'm just happy she gets to rest, because I know she was in a lot of pain. I know she was tired. I know she was tired. But I know she didn't want to die. Mentally, if her body was healthy, her mental would have held on, you know? She was still very strong mentally, but her body just was tired. And so I'm happy she gets to rest now. I'm sad. I'm gonna put all my kids in therapy, because I know how I felt when my grandma and my grandpa passed away when I was like what, 11, 12. I just didn't take it well. Like, I handled it well, but I had a whole bunch of like fear and anxiety after that never got resolved, you know? And that's when my anxiety and my panic attacks started, after my grandma died. So I'm gonna put them all in therapy to make sure they get the support they need. They don't know. I did not say anything, because again, today is Junebug and Blaze's party, and it was her birthday, you know, and I just don't want this. I don't want them to be. I don't want her death to be attached to their birthday forever, even though, you know, it's around the same time. And they're so small. I don't want to hurt them when they should be happy, celebrating, because they're gonna have to hurt at some point anyway, because I'm gonna have to tell them. As far as Cadence, Kingston, and Kaya, they're the oldest, and I sat them down the other day, 3 days ago, when I first found out all this shit was going on, and I told them that what was happening. I told them that she was in the hospital. This is before the ventilator. This is before all this stuff. And I told them, I said, you know, I want to let you guys know what's happening, because you guys are the oldest. I want you to help. You know, if you see one of the kids needs extra help or something, be patient with them, help them, you know, whatever. Make sure to do your part, because, you know, mom's going through a lot and grandma's in the hospital right now. And I also said, you know, I don't know what's going to happen this time, because she's really, really sick. But, you know, I'm going to give you guys the option of knowing right away, or you can wait for, like, if anything happens and she ends up passing, I will tell you guys if you want to know. If you don't want to know until I tell the younger kids, then I will wait until I tell the younger kids. And Cadence said, I want to know. Kingston said, I want to know. Kaya said, I don't want to know until absolutely necessary. I said, okay. So, Kingston texted me yesterday. He's like, what's going on? Like, is she okay? What's happening? I gave him the update when I was at the hospital. And then, what was I going to say? And then this morning, I put on a brave face. The kids were already up, and I said, okay. My hubby stayed at home this time, so he can help, you know, do whatever he needs to do with the kids. We don't have to worry about calling a sitter, none of that. Just stay there, and I'll be back. That's what I told him. So, Cadence catches me at the door, and she's like, where are you going? I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the hospital for grandma. And she was like, oh, is everything okay? Is it the same thing that happened yesterday, or is it something else that happened? I said, okay, come here. So I bring her in my room, and I tell her what happened. And she's like, oh, is she really gone? And I said, yeah, she's really gone. And she said, are you okay? And I said, no, but, you know, I could use a hug. And she hugged me. She said, I love you. I said, I love you too. She said, you gonna be okay? I said, yeah, we gonna be okay. We gonna be okay. I said, are you okay? She said, I'm gonna be okay. I said, okay. I said, just don't say anything to anybody yet, and not even Kingston or Kaya, and I'll talk to them when I get home. And she said, okay. So I'm gonna go home and try to rest for a little bit, and their party's not until 5. I'm still gonna, you know, try to vlog it and everything, because that's what I was planning on doing. I ended up vlogging me freaking out yesterday and everything, because I was vlogging just vlogging anyway for the boy's birthday and putting that whole thing together, and I don't know how I want to do it because it's kind of mixed in together. I'm gonna have to, I don't want it to be, I don't know, that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna have to separate it, the sad stuff from the happy stuff if I can. But it's real life, shit. It's really what I've been going through. So I don't really know what happens next, but pray for my strength, please. My kids. Read some of y'all's comments. I'm taking it in time yet. I think so. No, I'm so sorry to realize. Thank you. Thank you, Ebony. Thank you guys for all of your condolences and everything. My cousin and we just hugged each other. Yeah, that's all you can do is just hug each other. My twins, all my kids love my mom. It's different, you know. It's kind of different sometimes. I feel like when the boys have kids, like my brother's kids, you know, aren't as close to my mom. They're close, you know, but they're not as close to my mom as my kids were, because she's been around my kids since birth, all of them, you know, especially the older ones. She was at the birth of Cadence, at the birth of Kingston. She took the kids to the zoo when I was in the hospital having Kaya, but she was there every single time. She was there, you know. So it's just like, I just feel like, and the twins are so sensitive, and they were so close to her. And I've been trying not to worry them, because I'm really worried about them. I'm worried about all of them. I'm really worried about them because I know how close they were to her. And, you know, my mom as well. Okay. I love you guys. I guess the rest will be in a video or something. I don't know. At this point, I'm just gonna go home, be with my babies, get myself together mentally so I can put on a smile later on. My eyes are so fucking swollen. But I love you guys. Mama, I apologize for your mother. I hope that you get this. Thank you, G. I will drive safe. Thank you. I'm here for you. Love you too. Love you back. Thank you. Thank you. I love y'all. Y'all are always there for me to listen to me complain and listen to me rant. Y'all don't never judge me. I love y'all. I appreciate all the support from everybody. And if you have any advice, you know, for my kids, you know, how to support them through this, they've never had anybody pass away that's been this close to them ever. So this is different. So I don't really know how to navigate this. So if you have any suggestions, please, you can DM me, you can drop it in the comments of this video. But yeah, y'all, thank you so much for your prayers and your support. I'll talk to y'all later.